Fans prepare for a major festival show. How do they get there, and how nervous do they get? We joined iDLEWiLD last Thursday night to find out. Glastonbury 2002 on Radio 1, and on Thursday night all around the country there'll be bands playing gigs en route to Glastonbury. The one we've chosen to come to is the iDLEWiLD show, which is my old home stomping ground of Colchester, and we're just outside the Colchester Arts Centre with Rod and Roddy from iDLEWiLD. And I haven't seen your tour bus yet, but I'm told it smells.
It's quite a nice smell in a nostalgic way, in that it smells quite like your grandmother's house, sort of musty.
Kind of lo-fi. I think it's on the bottom end of the old tour bus market. But it's nice, you know, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's nice to have a tour bus anyway.
So outside the Arts Centre, have you played here before?
Yes, we played here with the Warm Jets about 3 years ago.
It was the start of our second ever tour. We played open for the Warm Jets in March 1998. The only thing I remember, which is kind of a pathetic story, was we stayed across from a garage which was called Neep. Remember that? Which is Scottish for turnip. And we thought this was hilarious, so I got a photo taken outside it. That was my longest standing memory of Colchester. I also remember we were so excited to be on tour again that we were absolutely god-awful that night, because we didn't really understand being on tour, and like, so we kind of just took advantage of everything, and we're a little bit on the scrappy side. But it was still fun at the time, you know.
How important is Glastonbury to you this summer, I suppose, for you? I mean, when you're planning the year out, do you think, and that's going to be a big day?
I think it has more significance this summer for us anyway, because it's our record coming out in this single, and there's been more enthusiasm about these past two singles and this album of anything we've done previously. And I think obviously this summer doing Glastonbury and T in the Park, you know, especially obviously being in Scotland, I think there's a lot of emphasis on us playing at those festivals among the people that like us, and among the people also I think that have known our name and are expecting something now. So I think, yeah, there is more emphasis this year, I feel, than in any other sort of summer that we've played at festivals.
There's also something about the mood of a particular time of day as well, isn't there? It's just, you just feel like some bands are in the right place at the right time for certain performances. But we shall see. Obviously the gig is tomorrow, but tonight you play very shortly. I shan't detain you any longer, because we're all going to rush in and see a bit of Hero Mika Hi-Fi, local heroes. 2 of them used to go to my old school. Hurrah. Thank you very much. We'll catch you on the bus later. Continuing our Glastonbury 2002 iDLEWiLD tour diary, and straight after the gig at the Arts Centre in Colchester with Rod, who's found something rather nasty on the floor. You shouldn't have told you this. Didn't your mother tell you not to pick things up from the floor? And Colin, straight after the gig, which was the hottest gig you must have done in some time.
Yes, it was. It was very warm.
It's always warmer for the drummer.
Moist at the back.
Thank you very much. And before we have any more innuendo, Rod?
These things are a good chance to try out a few. When you know you're kind of playing to a group of people who are kind of really into it, you can try out a few of the songs that are maybe slightly frailer.
Where was the high point in the set and the low point?
The high point was probably a Stadium Rock for ending American English, and the low point was probably when it was finished.
And you did, but tonight though, something a bit special which I've never seen you do before is the cover version of Everything Flows from Teenage Fan Club, which I virtually sank to my knees and thought, I really don't have to carry on after this. I've seen everything I need to see in pop music.
We're just all big Teenage Fan Club fans, you know, and I'd never actually heard that song before, because it wasn't on any of the albums, and Roddy told me about it, and I got a copy of it. And it's just you can't really go wrong with it. You can't really play it and it sound bad. It's just a really good song. It's really easy to play.
That's a good way to end the interview, I think. Thank you very much. We'll be moving on to the bus very shortly. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
The sound which you can probably hear is Meatloaf coming from the front lounge of the iDLEWiLD tour bus. The band came off stage about an hour and a half ago, and as the boys said, it was a great gig. But we're now on the iDLEWiLD tour bus, leaving Colchester, heading towards Glastonbury. I don't know how many bunks there are, but it's 3's up this time. So at home you may have just like a double bunk bed, but we have 3 bunk beds here, and there really is. It's the most it's the tiniest living space that you're ever going to get in. Anyway, so we're on the bus. We've already found out that there's 2 lounges. There's the rock or death metal lounge, which is downstairs, and upstairs, which was apparently last night the kind of wussy indie pop lounge, has turned into the soft rock lounge tonight. Anyway, we're going to try and get into one of the bunks. Now, mine is the top bunk. Right at the bottom, I've got Roddy. I've got Rod, I think, and then one of the crew, and then above that, now to get into this bunk, you have to perch one foot on the second bunk, then swing yourself over and bring the left leg in, and then the right, and then if you could just tuck yourself in under the ceiling, you've got about, I would say, 5.5 inches between my head and the top of the bus, and that's where we'll be sleeping en route to Pilsen.
Then you contact the American team, you never look up once. You've contacted American dreams, I require you to stop and look up. Sing a song about myself, keep singing a song about myself, not some invisible constantly searching to find something new, but what will you find when you think that nothing's true? Maybe it's that nothing is new. So you let me hear songs that were written all about you. The good songs weren't written for you, they'll never be about you. Then you contract the American team, you never look up once. You contracted American dreams, you never look up once. So don't look up, sing a song about myself, keep singing a song about myself, not some invisible word. Sing a song about myself, keep singing a song about myself.
Saturday at Glastonbury, we are on the iDLEWiLD tour bus. We arrived here about, I think it was about 7:45 when I woke up, and we were just arriving on the festival site. First port of call for iDLEWiLD today was doing a live acoustic on the Joe Wiley programme on Radio 1. We're back now just after iDLEWiLD have played on the other stage. It's 4:20 in the afternoon. Roddy, how was it for you when you actually finally went on, having built up to this?
I had a good time, it was sunny and everyone was kind of smiling, and it just seemed like, that's what I said, I felt like it was kind of a good time kind of concert. Everyone was like, it was kind of a real goodwill. I mean, I was just saying, it's always difficult to judge and to gauge what a festival was like when you played, because it's a lot less focused on a concert when people are paying to see a band and stand in front of the band that they like. There's a real mixture of people, and that's what's good about them, I suppose. And from the band's attitude as well, it's like that as well. You can't be so specific. You have to be a lot more kind of broad-based in the way you kind of play. But also the weather and stuff, because it was quite windy when we played. But you'd be listening to, you'd be singing along with the song, and suddenly the song would disappear, and it would just be like a hi-hat.
I've always said that the best festival sound is the same as a pot of gold. It's somewhere over the rainbow, over there in a ditch somewhere. That's where the best festival sound is. But did you enjoy it? You looked like you were great, because in general, over the last 2 nights when we've seen you, you've grown a lot in confidence as a band and as a frontman.
Yeah, we just have. It's it's about sort of self-knowledge, and also knowledge of yourself in the context of the band. I think if you grow up in a band like we have pretty much done for the past 5 years, but you just have an awareness about yourself and what you can actually do in that role, and I think then you can actually really kind of get into it. I think before it was the insecurity of iDLEWiLD that made it kind of appealing to people, because you really didn't know really what was going to happen, and there's still an element of sort of like that, of unpredictability about it, but there's also now a little bit more control. I know control is a terrible word to use in the context of music, but I think we know what we're doing more, and then we can put ourselves across more confidently.
when you played American English, the final song today, the hands were raised right the way back to the mixing desk. And can you see that when you're on?
Yeah, it was a bit of Radio Gaga sort of element going on there at the very end. I think, I mean, it's that kind of song, really. That's what I was saying. It's made a kind of connection with people, I think, on a really kind of basic level, sort of the words and the simple tune. I think it's one of these kind of songs that when you play at a festival, you can really see it coming across to a real broad, cross-section of people. And I think that, there's a lot of songs that people talk about, like sort of defining festivals and whatever like that. And I mean, it would certainly be nice if people came away from Glastonbury next weekend, or not next weekend, unless they stay for a week, like this weekend, and just remember a couple of songs. And I think American English is going to sort of stand up there as well.
I think you're probably right. It was a great end to the set, and it's been a fantastic 36 hours with iDLEWiLD. As I say, we are back on the bus. I will say one thing. When you said yesterday that the bus was a bit grubby, you weren't wrong.
No.
When you said, as I've just walked into I was just about to go to the toilet in the bus, and you said, Steve, it smells a bit, you weren't wrong. And when you said, well, this is going to be a bit of a gig, you weren't wrong there. It was a fantastic performance. Thank you very much for having us on your bus, Roddy.
Anytime, Steve.
We also have to say thank you very much to Dom, their tour manager, as well, for looking after us while we were at the Glastonbury Festival. And we did, in the end, hitch a ride home on the same bus. So thank you very much to iDLEWiLD. Various other bands we spoke to over the weekend. We were talking about the subject of the spirit of Glastonbury and could it survive the fences and the extra security. Find out what they thought in about 5 minutes.
Radio 1 on.
I think